Hello and welcome back to Rule a Game. In this video I'm going to show you how to play Finspan. This is a game from the Wingspan universe. It's designed by David Gordon and Michael O'Connell. And it's a game for 1 to 5 players, lasts about 45 to 60 minutes, and it's recommended starting at age 10. Now, first things first. Finspan is not a word. And yes, I did look it up in a dictionary. Second of all, I will not explain you how to play the single player version as usual. And third of all, if you know Wingspan, and I do have a video about it, which is linked up there. If you've played Wingspan before, I consider this game to be slightly simpler and maybe a little faster than the actual Wingspan game, but you can see that when you watch the video. As usual, I'll first show you how to make points, then I'll show you how to play the game, I'll give you some hints for your first game, and then I'll show you how to set up the game. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe below. But now, let's get started with Finspan. Rule the game. Finspan is played in rounds. There are 4 rounds to play, and in each round, every player has 6 turns to do. You'll get points after each round and then at the end of the game. There's a scoring pad here that will guide you through how you get your points. First, we're going to look at how you get points at the end of a round. Now for that, you're going to look at this board here with the achievements that has a different scoring mechanism for each of the different weeks or rounds. As you can see here, after week 4, the round 4, you're done with the game and you go to scoring. But in each round, or at the end of each round, you're going to get scores, and you see here these wave symbols. That's the scoring points that you get. Here you see 1, 2, and 2. And at the end of week 1, for example, here you get for each egg and or young that you have, you get 1 victory point, and you're going to note that here. Now this is the simple version that is recommended for your first game. On the back, there's also one where you see that there are no end scoring cards on there, or nothing marked on it. There you can do something random. You get tiles for that you can place there. But I'm going to show you here the first game that is recommended here with this given scoring. So after week 1, you're going to score this. Everybody is going to get points. After week 2, you're going to get points again. After week 3, you get points. And then we're actually getting to the main board, which is here in the middle. That's your personal board. Everybody has this very long board here. And on this board, you have the remaining points. First, you're going to have some fish on here that have here a game end scoring ability. So here you see you get 6 points if you have 2 fish, exactly 2 fish, which we actually have here, which means you're going to put down here 6 points for that one. I don't have another game end scoring ability. There's a game end action that I can do, but we'll get to that in the gameplay section. Next, we're going to get points for each single fish. They all have points, as you can see here, 1, 2, 7, 1, 7, and so on. We'll add them all up. We're going to put them right here. Next, you get points for the eggs. So these are the eggs here, and we have 3 of them. That's 3 points. Then the young fish, those are these here. They also give you 1 point each. We have currently 3, that's 3 points. And if you have a school of young fish, like right here, this one will be 6 points each. And last thing is that you get points for consumed fish. Those can be either cards on their other fish, like right here. You don't get the points from what it says here. You only get 1 point per card that is under a different fish. And then you have the forage fish. Those are the ones that are printed on the board right away. You see 3 of them. And if a forage fish is under another fish, that's also 1 single point. So I have 1 point from this forage fish and 1 point from this card underneath. That's 2 points. And I'll add that here too. You sum it up, and whoever has the most points wins. And if there's a tie, then the person who has the most hand cards left, I don't have any here, but whoever has the most hand cards actually wins. As I mentioned before, Finspan is played in 4 rounds, and each round you get 6 turns. And in each turn, you're going to spend one of these meeples. You get 6 of these meeples, so you get 6 turns in each round, and you get to place them on your personal board. Now, there are 2 different actions that you can do when it's your turn. One is you play a fish on the board, or the second option is you go dive in one of the locations that you have. You have 3 locations on the board, and I'll show you those right away. First though, I'll show you how to play a fish. So if you want to place a fish, you'll take one of your meeples, you'll place it up here on the board, and then you take one of the fish that you have in your hand and you place it somewhere on the board. Now there are a few rules that you have to know. One is the fish have their favorite places where they want to live. Those are written here. And as you can see, currently I only have fish that have this orange sun or even the moon. And you can see over here that you have here the bright sun, you have this sunset, and here you have the moon. And so it's clear that here, for example, now let's take this fish. This fish can only go somewhere here in this row, while these fish here, they can go either here or down here somewhere. A fish like this one up here with the sun can only go in this 3x3 block and needs to be placed there. As you can see, some fish also have here on the side a color. So this one is blue, and you see how this blue color corresponds to the color of this whole column here. So this fish needs to be in the sun, but also in a blue tile or a blue space. So it can be here, here, or here. You see another one down here that has this purple thing on the side, so it needs to be in this column, and it needs to be either here or down here in one of those 2. You can always place a fish on a shorter fish. So if, for example, you want to take this fish here, this is 70 centimeters, as you can see down here, and you want to place it somewhere here, for example, you could technically either place it here on top of this fish that is 30 centimeters, it just needs to be longer, or you can place it even on here, this forage fish that you see down here, that you place like this. Whenever there's something underneath or already on this fish before, you'll take it and you put it back on top of this fish. Same would happen over here where we have an egg. If I place it here, I'll take the egg and I'll put the egg on top of it. Now you can't place a fish for free. Every fish has a cost. And the costs are shown up here. To play this fish, for example, I would have to pay 2 eggs. And I'll just take 2 eggs from somewhere on my board and I'll put them back in the supply. That way, this fish is now here. Alternatively, you see some cards that say the costs here are cards. If I wanted to actually play this fish somewhere, and currently it'll probably only fit here because this is the only one that is bigger than the other fish. So if I placed it here, I would have to pay with 2 cards, and playing 2 cards means that I'll take these 2 cards and I'll put them on a personal discard pile on the other side of the board where I have my cards, and turned by 90 degrees so that we remember that this is the discard pile. Then that's important because later on I will be able to also get some cards back from the discard pile during the game. Now again, this is personal. Nobody can actually take any cards from my personal discard pile, and I can't take from theirs either. And then there's a third option, which is this one here, where the cost is that you actually have to place this fish on top of another fish. So again, this would work here if I placed it here, but it could also work down here if I placed it right here. Next, once you've placed your fish, there are some fish then that have an ability that says when played, and if you do that, if you play one of these fish that say when played, you place your fish and then you do the action that it says here, and you see that there are different actions, and I refer here to the instruction manuals for you to look up what this actually means. All the other cards say either if activated, that will happen when we go for a dive, which we'll do in a second, or they have a game end action, which will be done just before you start scoring, or they have a game end scoring section here that will help you to get more points. So this is already the action to place a fish. In each turn, you can only place one fish unless there's a bonus action that lets you play another fish. But you can play as many fish in a round as you like to. Now let's have a look at the diving action. Diving means that you will be placing a meeple up here on top of a column, and then you'll be moving down the column to get all the different actions. So I'll show you how to dive here in the middle column, for example. First, you see that in every column you start with a potential action here, and that's putting an egg on a card. This can only happen if there's a fish here in one of these fields right underneath this diver. And it needs to be in this first section, in the sun section, that you need to have a fish. We have a fish right here, the haddock. So we get to place an egg on any fish. Now there can only ever be just one egg per fish. We then move down and move until we hit another fish. And then we see in some cases, that, like right here, it says if activated. And in this case it says all players. So all players can decide if they want to pick up a card from the deck. They take that card in this case and they'll place it here in their hand. And as you can see, my hand is open and every player can always see my hand. And so I just added this fish and I have this available to place later on my board. You see also that some of the actions don't actually say all players. That means if you were over here, if you had dived over here, you would actually be able to do this action just by yourself. In this case, it actually means that you get to take a card back from your discard pile here, which we currently don't have. But if we had a discarded card from earlier that we paid with, we could now place it back here. So we move down here, we did this, we keep on going. And then we have another egg that we can put down if there's a fish in this column. There's a forage fish here, and even that counts as a fish, so I'll actually get to place another egg on any card. This fish doesn't have any action, so nothing happens, and we move down here. Again, I can lay an egg if I had a fish here. I don't have a fish here, so I can't lay an egg. That won't happen. We move all the way down. And if this is your first time in this rounds that you're moving down this column, you'd have down here a special action again that you can put another egg on a fish. Let's say we put the egg here. Again, just one egg per fish. An egg could also be on a fish that already has young ones. An egg could also be where there's a school. As you can see, there can be more than one young one per fish, but there can ever only be one school per fish, never more. So this is if I dived right here. This side over here is very similar. Here the action is instead of getting an egg, you get a card. So again, we see here we have a fish, so we would actually get a card. Again, we just take it, put it here. Then we would go here. Again, we would activate this card. We could, if we had, we could move a card from the discard pile, my personal discard pile, back. We move back further down. Here we get another card because there's another fish. There's no activity here because here we are not a game end yet. So we move further down. There's another fish here in this part here, so we can get another card. I'm running out of space here. And then here there's no action, but then we move all the way down. Again, here there's a special action for the first diver in this column, and that means we can get another card from the discard pile and put it here. Again, I have none. Still, I have to cover it. And if I came now in the next round down here and did all these actions again, I wouldn't actually be able to do this activity again. I would get the card here, I would do this, I would get the card here, I would get the card here, but then there's no more action here. I can't get another card from the discard pile. The last column is an important one too, because this is how you get to your young fish and then also to the schools. Here, if we have a fish in this section, which we do, we can hatch an egg. Hatch an egg is that we flip an egg around, so now we have a young one. No activity here, there is no if activated, only game end. This is when played, nothing happens here. We get down here, we get to hatch another one because there's another fish. Let's say we hatch this one. There's no action here. We get here, and now you see I can move either young fish or schools of fish. What I can do now is I'll move this one, young one, to the other two here. Whenever three young ones get together, they automatically form a school. And so now I have a school there. A school can never be broken up anymore. And once you have three fish on a card, you have to actually make a school out of it. You can't get around this. It automatically makes a school, and you now have the school here with the 6 points at the end of the game. We continue here. There's nothing that happens here because this is game end, and down here again I can move another fish or another school if I wanted to. In this case, let's say I move this one up here, and that'll be end of this turn. Now in each round, the person who has this fish here will start the round. They will place their first of their meeples somewhere, and then it moves clockwise until it comes back to the starting player. Once they've placed all their 6 meeples, everybody else also gets to place their 6th meeple. And then we're actually going to check here the scoring, the week achievement. And the week that we're currently scoring is always the one that has this green thing on it. And once we scored it, then we move that on to the next week, so we know that what we're actually scoring, how far along in the game we are, and we're going to move this one to the next player in clockwise order. That player will then start the next round. And that is already all there is to this game. There's nothing else you need to know about this game. These are all the rules. So you do this 24 times, 4 rounds, 6 turns. And then at the end, once you're there, we've done your 24 turns. Now, we first go check out the fish that say here game end and have an action like this one or this one. And then we're done with all the actions. Now we start the scoring, and again, you would start over here with the game end section of this card. Then you start adding the points from the fish and so on. And here's some hints for your first game. Finspan is also a rather well-balanced game. So you can't just do one thing and one thing only and think that that's going to make you win this game. So you can't just place as many fish as you want to, or you can't just make schools of fish. That really won't get you there that you can win this game. But you will have to do a little bit of everything. Now you can focus mostly on fish. Definitely that's the case. If you have fish that have a lot of points, and with a lot of points, I mean everything above 5 points is actually rather high. If you look around this table that I have currently here, you'll see that 4 or 5 is somewhere in the middle. So 5 points is pretty good. But the fish themselves will not be enough points to win this game. So you will have to get other points from schools or from eggs or young ones, or especially getting also the points from the different achievements every week. If you play the basic version of the achievements here, where it already says what you're going to get, I don't think you really have to focus on that very much. It can be a guidance for you to know what to do, but that's more or less all there is to it. But if you do the other side, there will actually be extra points for the person who has the most of something. And then it's worth doing it, because you get a leg up over the others if you have something done compared to the others. You will start with 5 fish that are given to you at the very beginning of the game, and I think that will actually kind of tell you how to play this game. If you get fish that have a lot of points, then maybe focus on those. If you have fish that have almost no points, but maybe have a lot of activities, then you try to use these activities more. I would say usually what happens in the beginning is, of course, you'll try to get a bunch of cards because you're going to try to find a good combination of fish that works for you. And then towards the middle of the game, you move more towards having more eggs, having more young ones, building schools, and so on. That's usually how the game goes. At that point, you also have more eggs, young ones, that you can use to pay for more powerful fish. Powerful fish in the sense of having more points, or maybe that give you more abilities when they're played. What I realized is that if you place some of these moving fish in this column, then you don't have enough young ones to move around. So you do actually might want to place some of these somewhere else, and probably in the egg column as well to do that. And that's Finspan. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel. Up next, how to set up the game. To set up the game, every player gets their personal board. We then place 2 eggs and a young one here on these fields that have them on them. Next, every player gets 6 meeples that they can put to the side of their board. We'll also put the school of fish and the eggs and the young ones here on the side. We'll also put the round bonus card in the middle of the table. We'll place the round tracker on week 1. Again, for the first game, it's recommended that you take the sides that already has something written on it. You'll give one player here the starting player token. You also take here the scoring pad, put it somewhere. Then you take the starting cards. Those, as you can see, are a little lighter than the actual cards. And up in the corner, they have here a gray corner. You'll shuffle those and you'll hand every player 2 cards. Then you can put the starting cards away. Next, you'll take here all the cards that you have with all the fish. You'll shuffle those and you hand everybody 3 cards. And that's it. We're good to go.